Hi, and welcome back to the best thing you watched this week. We've got Chris from Movies and Munchies, myself, Billy, who has lit the candle.
Oh no!
Oh, it won't blow out. Okay.
It won't.
If you are joining us for the first time, feel very welcome. If you're a recurring person that's enjoying our content, thank you very much for listening to us or watching us, depending which platform you are on. As always, we are on all podcast platforms, just about. For the video segment of this, we're on YouTube, and then there's exclusive content for your audio podcast where we talk about entertainment news and things we are looking forward to. This week, I think we have quite a few topics to get through, because for me, I had quite a few good things to watch, which is surprising. I was talking to Chris earlier off camera, and he had to choose what to watch and what to cover. So hopefully there's a few good titles in there, and I'm sure we'll do, as always, a few crossovers. We're going to be jumping into the movie quiz. We'll see who won. Yeah.
Yes. All right. So the answers for last week's quiz, which I got 0 of them because it's been forever and a day since I've seen these movies. So that was a good choice on Ruben's part. And they felt obscure, but maybe that's just because I hadn't seen them. I don't know. We have The Island, Predator, and Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. So the only person on mine who got all of them and was first is our returning champion, Andre Proudfoot. So,
nice.
Good job. Right.
Congratulations.
On.
Still loving
Quick
the surname.
on the draw there.
Whatever it's
called. Oh, totally.
Very cool.
Absolutely.
Nice. Should I do our 3 for this week then? Are you ready?
Yeah, well, I'm as ready as I'm going to be. So, yeah.
The only help I can give you this week is they're all kind of Halloween themed. Not Halloween films, but in a spooky. As it's spooky month.
Jinx.
Nice. Okay. So the 2 words for the first one are prehistoric bitch.
That sounds familiar.
Okay. So I'll do the sentence. Let's show this prehistoric bitch how we do things downtown.
I should know this one. Okay.
This one's easier. You might get this one.
All right.
Ghost with the most.
Oh, see, my brain is locking up, but that sounds very familiar.
Okay, so the full sentence is, I'm the ghost with the most, babe.
I think I know what this one is. I'm pretty sure I know what this one is. Okay.
Awesome. And the third one, this is such a great quote. Probably obscure for some people. I don't know everybody's seen this movie, but I love this quote. So the 2 words are, Eunuch jelly.
What?
Okay, here we go for the full quote. Come and get one in your yarbies if you have any yarbles, you eunuch jelly, though. Try. Oh, wow. So I'm trying to put on a British accent, like proper thick in it.
Okay.
Come and get one in the yarbles if you have any yarbles, you eunuch jelly, though. From a very famous director. That's.
Oh gosh. Well, that was good. I don't know. Well, I certainly don't know that last one. Should I know that one? Have I seen it, do you think?
Oh, you've seen it for sure.
Okay.
I think.
All right.
I'd be surprised if you hadn't, and you would need to rectify it if you hadn't. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Well, let us know in the comments. First to get it, shout out there. That's difficult, weird, obscure, awesome though, all the way around. So right on. All right. May I ask a question?
You may, sir.
Okay. So would you rather attend Hogwarts or would you rather rule Narnia?
Oh my gosh. So Narnia was my childhood, like that and Lord of the Rings. Like reading those books was the thing that I was that as spiritual as you're allowed to get if you were grown up in a Christian household with a dad who's a pastor. That's That's the thing, your escape into those worlds. So, my immediate gut reaction is Narnia, of course, because if you remember the power they wielded and what they could do as one of the rulers. But having lived the last 10, 15 years with Harry Potter, it's a dark world, but it's so much fun. Like, if I had a wand, the things I would get up to, I would probably be sent into Azkaban. But, you know, you would try a few things with your wand, wouldn't you?
It'd be worth it, right?
Yeah, for sure. And all those people that are just nasty in the real world, that's probably why I won't be given a wand. Because I'd be like, white supremacists, Avada Kevad. Yeah. And then Ruben goes to Azkaban. That's how that works.
Yeah, but see, it's a public service, so there you go.
But you could have a lot of fun with it. I just love how the world of the Harry Potter, the universe is growing, and we're getting that game that's coming out next year that's, you know, you're allowed to play as one of the wizards, attend Hogwarts. That's all I want to do. I'll be happy with that. Send me to Hogwarts. I will behave myself, I swear. What would you do, Chris?
I think for the same reasons, yeah, I would choose to attend Hogwarts as well. I think there are aspects of Narnia that I like, but overall, I think I'm more entranced now by the world of Harry Potter.
Yeah,
just, you know, the surroundings, the characters even. Like, I would want to, not all of them, but a good deal of them I would want to hang out with, or at least be around or see. And as long as I don't have to go to classes, I might hang out with the Weasleys and just kind of get into trouble
Weasleys
there,
are
you know?
The best, yes. But you see, I wouldn't mind going to some of the classes with like Potions Master, or like actually learning the stuff that you need to learn. If you actually had a decent dark arts teacher for once, like seriously, allow Snape to be the dark arts. He would be the best. Why haven't you done this? It's so frustrating. Okay, I could go off on a tangent on this. Do it.
Just. Well, you see how many ways it goes wrong when they have all of these other people do it. So.
Yeah. Yes. Wow.
Sorry, she's very evil.
Yes, she is. Yes.
Oh man.
Well, let us know in the comments below, which would you choose? I'd be surprised that there would be many Narnians, unless you are of our demographic and age, who actually read the Narnian books and know about like kind of where it ends in the last battle. But even the last battle reminds me of Harry Potter now, so I guess maybe there was some elements pulled there. But all the magics, all the good stuff that I like from Narnia is really represented in Harry Potter. You know, all the talking animals, which I love from Narnia, in Harry Potter. Well, do they have talk? Yeah, they have some. There's a few, but there's more creatures. You have Creature, Dobby.
Yeah.
The dragons are more want to eat you. Yeah, they don't rarely get talking animals in.
The animals are less cuddly, I think, because I think of like the beaver family and you know, some of those that, while they may have been snarky or a little agitated, they're, you know.
Yeah, but I guess the mystical
softer
creatures there, they talk, because you have centaurs who talk and are obviously intelligent, and you have that, you know, goes over to Harry Potter as well. The centaurs in Harry Potter I want to know much more about. I always feel like they're not, we don't know nearly enough about the politics of what's going on there.
Oh yeah,
they hinted at it, but yeah. Anyway, that's a whole nother discussion. Let's get into the best thing we watched.
Nice. All right.
As I'm wearing the makeup.
Yes, please.
Let's talk about Hocus Pocus 2. And before I get into talking about it, I just want to call out a certain comment that I got on, because I watched Hocus Pocus 1 this week.
Yeah.
and I had a good time watching that. Had to refresh it, realized it's actually been a few years, because every year I get to, maybe it's too fresh, and I move on to I'll watch it next year. So I got to this one. And this guy, to be fair, he's been following my channel for ages. I think he's a subscriber of yours as well. But he said, and I took it personally, Chris. He said, Rob Vesper said, if your take on Hocus Pocus is anything other than it's a blight on all existence, why? I'll sit here ineffectually stewing for at least a few seconds. Apologies. Sorry, not sorry, but I don't want to know anyone who loves this film. Also, Hook is an embarrassing stinker, and The Goonies is flawed at best. If there's anything else people cherish that I could take apart, The Sand-A-Lot, not good. I was like, holy crap.
Wow.
I think I'm going to go cry in the corner, then hire a hitman.
The gloves came off on that one, huh?
Seriously?
And just slapping everybody.
Holy crap.
but I mean, okay, we can acknowledge that, I mean, Hocus Pocus is full of cheese.
Oh,
it is
100% cheese film. Yeah.
But that's some of its charm. You know, it's the overall feeling that you get from this. I mean, it is silly and it is ridiculous, but that's what endears me to it. And I mean, the Sanderson sisters are just they steal it.
Yeah,
totally,
sure.
Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah. Okay, so jumping into the second one.
Yes.
I've seen some comments on Twitter where people are like, "What is that ending? I don't like this film anymore because of the ending." For me, the ending made the film. If I didn't have the ending for number 2, I wouldn't have felt connected to it emotionally. For me, the last 5 minutes of it redeemed the whole film. That's not to say I didn't enjoy the film, but I wasn't really on board until they brought it round. And trying not to do spoilers, but there's an emotional impact, for me at least. I was surprised. I had a lump in my throat. I was like, damn, how did they get me with this film in that way? What was your thoughts on that?
I totally agree. The ending was wonderful. I mean, I loved what it did for our characters. That it really, especially with how the film starts out, it does bring it full circle.
Yeah, it was a good way to do it. I wasn't sure what they were doing with the beginning. Can I just say, the 3 young actresses, the mannerisms because they were playing their, I thought, well done, young ladies, well done. Like, royal clap.
Yes.
I
almost turned it off though.
It's so cringy and over the top, and what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
But you get it later. Yeah. But I totally saw it. I was like, this is them with the buck teeth and the they've really done their homework on just copying the older adults. Yeah. But yeah, I understand why you almost turned it off. I did enjoy it though. Mm-hmm. I miss the talking cat. I thought that was they kept hinting at it and then didn't ever do anything about it. If you watch right until the end, there's also an end credit scene. Did you watch?
Oh no! It came up to say just skip credits.
Yeah, there's a reason why. Yeah. So there's an end credit scene that hints again at it, and the possibility of another film. Which makes me wonder what they would do if it was just be a new cast, because I don't think we could wait for these ladies to be another 30 years old.
Yeah. No, I don't think that would ever work. And they do, for it being that long ago from the original, they do a really good job. I mean, they have really just revitalized their characters. The now modern twists that they toss in.
It's great. That's exactly what I wanted. I didn't want anything more from them. I wanted, again, fish out of water, sliding doors with electronics, and it's like, who are these mystical warriors? What power they have? You know, in the first one, it's him with the lighter and, holding up into the spray, the rain of death or something. I can't remember what he said, but yeah, it was. And so the technology that they experience now, again, because it's moved forward 30 years, they incorporate that, and that's great. And then they incorporate it into like their brooms. What their brooms are this time makes sense. it totally works. Yeah, it's got the minds of their own. It's like they really do actually.
They do. Yes,
that's actually a thing.
Go home, Roomba. You're totally drunk.
Yeah. So they steal the show. I do think that there are some storylines within the film that wasn't needed. The continuation of taking the dude from the beginning and having him in the story trying to get his apple. I think he's a great actor. I just don't think he needed it. It just was like storyline.
Yeah, it was filler almost.
Exactly. Yeah. I would have liked more on the young witch. Yeah. Like they have their coven. I think some background story as to why, where, when. They didn't really give us enough to care about them, which is fine because I didn't. Which was interesting because in the first one, I'm rooting for the kids and the witches are evil. In the second one, I'm rooting for the witches and I didn't really care about the kids. So it's a proper just flip it on its head. And that made me worried for the film until the end. So
I can totally see that. I liked the modern snark that is brought in and the modern sensibility where the teenagers are clued in and a little bit faster on the uptake with what the witches say. And they're like, oh, no, we're not teenagers. We're 40.
Yeah, they're like, no, we're not falling for this again. Yeah.
Exactly. So, they pick up really quickly on that. And I think that adds a little bit of the humor. I was still laughing out loud, not extended laughing, more of like a chortle or something but Sarah Jessica Parker and Kathy Najimy both doing these little things here and there. Like they walk in and Bette Midler's like spread out. And you watch Sarah Jessica Parker slowly extend her arms.
My
and
wife
her legs.
fully belly laughed at that moment. She was just like, "Oh my god, spread out!" And you're like, "Oh my gosh, that works."
And it takes
so
like
much.
6 seconds to do. It's they commit to it. That
was so great. But there are things that their mannerisms that they pick from their characters in the first film that are back now that just fits so well. The things that they say like Book, they're just really interesting things. Actually, Book was a great character in this film. I was so surprised
to create that for Book. That was in another emotional little bit there that helps to build into the finale.
I thought that worked really well. That's a nice little bit. It's just really added to the characters of the why. But now I know I want a prequel of Book. What is Book? Where did Book come from? Because they hinted at an origin story with someone else. So it kind of leaves you wondering.
And Hannah Waddingham, is that her name, from Ted Lasso?
Yes, it was great.
Oh my gosh! Like I want a backstory with her. And what led up to this? Because she was like, I didn't know. Are you really evil and mean? Are you just kind of quirky? What's going on there? Maybe you're just nice and you just I don't.
I feel like she's like the watcher of it all because they hint at her being around at the end. But they also allude, well, I don't think I'm reading into this. She warns them about a certain spell. And I think that's the reason why she's alone.
Oh. I hadn't thought about that. I just makes sense.
Without spoilers.
Makes total sense. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Unless you have anything else to say, what was, what's the next thing on your list? Was that on your list?
No. Oh, goodness. Excuse me. That's terrible audio. I was eating children. It wasn't on my list, but I did want to talk about it. So because it was exactly what I wanted from it. I mean, when we turned it off, my wife and I were like, yeah, that was okay. It met my expectations. Like, I wasn't expecting the high art. I just wanted something that was kind of cute. And I'm glad that we got past the opening sequence. While the kids were great, I mean, that opening, it is rough.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like,
it's long. And what is this? For one, I thought they had marketed it wrongly and it was a prequel movie. I was like, because they were spending too much time. Like, I remember the opening from the beginning, and it just didn't feel like it dragged like it the original did.
We got right into it.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Okay. So I don't even know if this is opened for you yet, which is kind of stupid.
Smile.
But Smile, yeah.
Yeah,
Has it opened up?
It has early previews.
Okay. So big caveat to this. It is predictable. It is obvious. You've basically seen the premise before in several different movies. And yet I was tense the entire way through. It just, yes. And thank you, Ruben. That's disgusting. And just stop that.
For the audio, yeah, we're just smiling.
Just Ruben's creepily looking at me and smiling without moving. But, I mean, the premise is there's this, an infection. It's not really an infection, but it's kind of an infection because it just follows from person to person, but they smile. And once they start smiling, death is kind of coming. And so it follows this psychiatrist who has a patient that comes into the emergency department, and she's freaking out, and then she's smiling, and then bad things. And then we just watch this progression, and Sosie Bacon plays the psychiatrist.
That's such a great name.
Right? Yeah. Well, and she's Kira Sedgwick and Kevin Bacon's daughter, and you can totally see. I mean, they're them within her. But watching her deteriorate is outstanding. I mean, she like paranoia and anxiety. And then kind of unreliable narrator status. And what's great is that we kind of see it going on. Some of it is like, well, is that actually happening or is it not? But we're watching this, and so we get kind of her perspective more than the outside perspective, but we get to see how everybody else is seeing her and how she looks like she's just going off the rails. And because of things within her story, people are more concerned about certain things than they probably should be. Or maybe they have legitimate concerns, but anyway, so it causes them to react with her. There are some really great jump scares in this. Most of the time, they're not the whole, like, something just leaping out at you new. You know, it's the camera pans and there it is.
Nice.
And it has that stinger of the music where it goes, gee. But there were a couple of times literally where I jumped. And it was really, it's just a lot of fun. I mean, it's not, I think if you go in expecting something like groundbreaking, you will walk out disappointed. I mean, I heard a couple of people in the screening that I was at, they were like, "Oh, it's totally beatable." Well, dude, it's a horror movie. Most horror movies are beatable. What are you talking?
Don't go to the basement. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We watch these because the characters make some terrible decisions. And I go back to the characters don't know the genre that they're in. But it's definitely worth it. It's a great, I mean, especially for a spooky time watch, it's good. I'm not sure on multiple watches that it's going to hold up, like that you would,
because it's beatable.
No, because you see where everything's going. Like I was a little shocked, maybe by the decisions at the end. I can see them. I don't know. It's not that I don't like it. It's not that I love it. It's just it was not, that part of it was a little unexpected, and so I can appreciate that. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, if you do get the opportunity, go check it out, and you have some fun. You get your muscles all tensed up, and then you walk away.
I want to see it, but I don't want to see it alone, and my wife won't go with me.
Thank you. I'm so glad you said something like that, because the theater was packed when we saw it.
Wow.
And this was a great theater reaction movie.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
Because they're laughing nervously. Some of them are like, oh, heck, no.
Yeah, oh, I love those responses because you know that the film's got them. They're in it. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And so that was fun because it wasn't like a singular voice here and a little bit there. I mean, it was large chunks of the audience at different times going, or so, yeah.
Nice. Oh, man. Yeah. There's only so many horrors I can get my wife to go with me. And yeah, that's one that I can't. There's some like posters I can get away with and the title, but a film that's titled Smile with that poster, she's like, no, I'm vetoing that. Should we continue on the spooky trail, I guess, and get those out of the way as we're...
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So here's a film that I feel like a lot of people are going to pass on by because we had some big titles come out, like Blonde, that finally came out on Netflix, and regardless of what you think about it, people are going to be talking about it. It's a big title. Sure. And then you've still got all the other big titles like Lord of the Rings and that kind of thing. And so Amazon drops a very interesting horror, but embargoes all the critics and the film reviewers around the world for 2:30 our time, 6 something your time, and now all I can see is it being overshadowed. Barely anybody's talking about it.
Yep.
Because it was dropping at the midnight of my time and no one's talking about it. So they seem to want to hold off and bring all the critics and reviewers together to put it out at one time, but that really ended up shooting them in the foot because the film was already out for 20 hours before people started talking about it. Really, you should have got people the day before and started talking about it. Maybe they didn't have any faith in their film, but my best friend's Exorcism was a fairly fun ride. It's predictable, you know what it is, but it's 80s nostalgic poltergeist, Ghostbusters, Stranger Things kind of wrapped into one and does exactly what it says on the tin. You know, it's like what you said. It's not highbrow. It's not thinking too hard. It has a little bit of a message, but when you get down to the last 30 minutes of the film, it's exactly what you expected it to be. And then the first half of the film is two best friends coming of age story. One's leaving, which is still fun, especially with the score and the soundtrack that you have, which I was enjoying. I did think it took her, the best friend, took too long to realize that her friend was possessed, going just off the title of the film, My Best Friend's Exorcism. So I don't think that's spoiling anything. I just think they took 30 minutes too long to get to the part where I wanted to see more of the supernatural stuff. So you're selling me on a product that isn't the product until we get to that last half an hour. Those were my issues with it, but I still enjoyed it.
There were parts of it that I did like, and I loved Elsie Fisher's portrayal as a friend. I mean, because of how she constantly pursued all of these friendships, even if they weren't being reciprocated. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? That she was being showcased as the character is just like this stand-up friend. And even though she might make bad decisions sometimes, or, you know, she didn't make perfect choices, she still was there for them and trying to reach out and trying to be there for them despite hurt or whatever. I agree that the excuse me, the crux of the film, the exorcism, is really not part of the movie.
Yeah, it's there and then it's over. Yeah,
yeah, and it's so minimally addressed also that it was just kind of like, I thought that the movie though was suffering a bit from an identity crisis. Like I didn't know exactly what it wanted to be because at times it felt comedy, and it did deliver sometimes on the comedy. It wanted to be like, not necessarily horror, but at least creepy. Yeah. And occasionally it did that, especially at the beginning when we get where she gets possessed. That was some of the effects within that, some of the ideas that happened. I loved that. I thought that was really a strong point to the story.
I really hoped we're going to get more of that, but it's really the middle of the film that the film struggles with. It doesn't know what to do with it.
Yeah, well, and there's also portions where it felt like it was trying to be satire, but it never really went satirical. It just kind of hinted at like we're going
I think even one of the write-ups suggests that it is satire, but it doesn't lean into either one.
No, it doesn't. If it's trying to be, it's like barely skimming as a satire. So, I mean, there are portions within it that I liked. The whole Lemon Brothers,
Dude,
spiritual
I love that
body.
bit.
Dude, okay, so
because I've had that for real. Like I've seen that in South Africa. We had power builder Christian dudes. You had the same in America?
Oh, totally. Yeah, the absolute. I mean, that was what I was.
So accurate.
It was so ridiculous and absurd. And that's what I was hoping, really, that they were going to dive harder into the.
Yeah, I thought that's where it was
satire.
going. Yeah.
Yeah, especially because you have like Gretchen's family, who's very religious, but very money driven, and so there's these portions where you felt like you were going to talk about this, and then you just didn't.
Yeah.
It was just kind of there in the background. I did say in my review, though, I was really legitimately bummed. I even told my wife, I was like, dang it, they didn't do this. The Lemon Brothers did not tear a phone book in half. I mean, that was
I've seen that show live where with the handcuffs, they break out of the handcuffs, and then there's a phone book. You know, there's big yellow phone books. Oh my gosh, yeah, we've experienced that same show. Yeah, it's by the power of God.
Yeah, I don't. As a naive kid, you're wowed by it a little bit, and just the spectacle of everything.
God is like, Christianity must be the way. Yeah, that is.
Yeah, and
so
now I'm like, how is this even?
How is this allowed?
Supporting. What in the, oh my gosh. So anyway, there were parts in there which, you know, I did. And I agree. I agree. The soundtrack was awesome too. I mean, that is like, you know, just utter nostalgia there. It's just, I think at the end of it, I walked away feeling, it was okay. Like it wasn't, I thought that it had the potential to deliver more, whether it was more comedy or more creepy, or ideally the combination of both. And it just kind of, it dabbled.
Yeah, I mean, I feel all that. I think I enjoyed the ending, like with one of the brothers. I like the creature feature. I thought that was really well done. I thought that was excellent, and actually more representative of what the creature would be. There's all my Christianity coming back, like the devil's like a roaring lion, but actually what you see is a small little thing, without doing massive spoilers, sorry. Yeah. But there's a thing that is like, oh yeah, that's actually how your monster, if you had your monster that tormented you for ages, what it would actually look would probably be this tiny little thing that you could kick into a bucket, you know. And I thought that was really clever. It was a well done moment, and it looked great. Like it didn't look like it wasn't real. I wish they did more of that. There were moments when they started messing around with the supernatural, which were really good, where you see her as possessed, starting to mess around with the supernatural because she is possessed and has abilities, sort of. And I thought had she done more of that, that would have been great. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it only touched on so many things.
Which is frustrating because the potential is right there. Like it's literally on the cusp. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I think the bones of this was great. And had they maybe chosen not to do some of the periphery stuff and just really dive into some of this and make it richer and then commit to it, I think that would have been awesome. Because I'm curious that, like, as it stands, it rides that line. Like, it wants to be, like, directed at an older audience because I don't understand all the dick jokes. That was...
Yeah, that's weird.
It was
There's no need for it. Yeah.
No, it didn't add anything, and it just really, it was...
Because it did have a higher age, like, so it's higher teens, but then you went for, like, that's not really the script that you're presenting to us.
Yeah, and I don't know if, like...
That's out of touch, right?
It felt like it. Well, and it felt like, okay, so you're trying to make this guy just a douchebag. Well, we already got that.
Yeah.
I mean, you
so this jock. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And it didn't make him more of one. It actually just made me like cringe when he was on the screen. Yeah, I have to admit,
I didn't buy his character actually, because now we know, even if you're a jock, being the reality is you're not that dumb. You're not that stupid.
Yeah.
Like they made him to be so thick, like Joey from Friends, thick. And he's not. Unless there's something physically, mentally wrong with him that he couldn't retain information and understand certain things. And he wasn't that character. So yeah, I think that character's completely written. You're right. I'm giving this a 1. You've changed my mind, Chris.
Okay.
No. I still enjoyed it, but there definitely needed to be a fix on some of them. Yeah. I think my score is what it could be, what I wanted it to be.
Oh, sure. No, that makes sense. Yeah. Well, and we try and see the best sometimes in something. Like, I wanted it to be this, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah. Anyway, so what's next on your list?
We talked about this last week because you got to see it, but I just want to briefly touch on it because I got to watch it. I'm happy to speak
about this all day long, Chris.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so Ruben told me about this movie and talked about it last week. It comes out on October 7th. Hopefully worldwide. I don't really understand.
I think it's VOD worldwide, so fingers crossed.
Okay, because it is coming to Shudder. Also. Oh, is it? When is it coming to Shudder?
There's no confirmed date, but apparently it's going there. So fingers crossed. Yeah.
Well, and if you're wondering what the heck we're talking about, it's called Project Wolf Hunting, and it is a South Korean crime action horror. Balls to the wall, bloody gore fest. I mean, it is this. I don't know the last time I saw a movie that was so utterly violent. You have this criminals that are being transported from the Philippines to Korea, and they're on a ship, a cargo ship, and that's really the only thing. But there's something hidden within the ship that. But before we even get to that, the amount of violence that occurs is just off the charts. I mean, so we're watching this thing and I'm like, I mean, my eyes were just bugging out, my jaws open because I'm like, holy crap, and they just like no hesitation, just murder and mayhem going on. And you think, how can you make this more wild?
Yeah, I wasn't exaggerating, Chris.
No, like what in the and then boom, I'm like, oh my gosh, just golly. I want a prequel. I want some more understanding of what's going down. But I also want a sequel because we we're hinted at some stuff that is outside of the boat. Yeah. And that's where I just want, but no joke. If you like violence, this movie will deliver for you. I mean, if you're looking for blood and just gnarly kills. But I think
it's interesting violence because you can watch a gory, bloody film and come away feeling icky. But from this film, I didn't come away feeling icky. I just enjoyed the ride. It's a fun ride that you're gonna go, or how much blood does one body hold? Or his hand's going to go right. Yeah, it's going to go right through. Cool.
Yeah. Well, I think because of the level of excitement, like I mean, there is a gross factor to it, but it also, though, it surpasses that where it stops being kind of like gross and it's more of like, you react in a little bit of shock, but then I'm like, okay, what's next?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because remember the bit where I said the guy has no ankles, right?
Yeah.
But that's the thing that happens. And that's not even the worst thing that happens.
Yeah, just... Well, and the thing that I liked in this is that everybody's up for game.
Exactly. Yeah. You can choose who you're going to like, who you want to survive, but you basically need a bingo card with all the characters, and every time someone's taken out, ding, okay, bingo, you choose your characters.
Yes, yes, because there were so many that I was like, and there's a, do I want to talk about it? There is a surprise, I think, that happens, but by the time it's revealed, I already knew it.
Yeah.
Like, all right, I already guessed it, which didn't disappoint me. It was like, oh, I bet this is it. Oh, yep, see, there it is. Okay, cool. Let's go. But yeah, so anyway, Project Wolf Hunting is coming to on demand to theaters. Seriously, put this one on your watch list. This is if you like action, if you like South Korean action, and you just like to watch blood like sink a ship, then that's
Yep.
This is
that happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of
blood.
Oof. Nice. I'm really glad you got to watch that.
Yes.
So I put you onto South Korean horror gore, and you put me onto sci-fi. And I went and watched the sci-fi, and you were like, I didn't like this movie. And I came back and went, I really like this movie. What's the movie, Chris?
Oh, it's called Vesper.
Vesper. Yeah, this is a sci-fi slow burn that I thoroughly enjoyed. Now, there's a moment in it which I remember you talking about where Vesper's on her bed with a human, non-human person that they're reading a book, a child's book, and Chris, you're like, why did this scene go on for so long? But I totally get it. She doesn't know what she is, and she's learning to be a mother, but not a mother. She's trying to come to terms with what it is. Never experienced a moment like this. The kid doesn't get a chance to be a kid very often. No one reads to her because it's her dad, and
Sure.
she's not had those animal sounds before. It's excitement, and so it's over the top and silly. But I got it as to why they were continuing. So here I can hear Chris going, I literally just heard your voice going, stop, this is too long. Oh my gosh. Like Arnie, oh my gosh, get to the chopper.
Fair enough. I can see your point of view. I do say, like, I can appreciate that. I still think it went on too long, but I can see how that works, especially with the loneliness of Vesper, that you know what I mean, and any type of connection there, wanting to elongate that as much as possible and hold on to it. So
what is Vesper? We kind of just jumped into it.
Nope, sure, yeah. Go for it.
Vesper is a post-apocalyptic future, but not a cyberpunk world that a lot of films are depicting these days. It's more the desolate type. But if you took a little bit of Pandora's Avatar, with the plants having gone crazy because of biosynthesis, that is kind of the world that we now live in. So human technology has progressed quite well, but in more different than we're used to seeing on screen. And there are these places called citadels where elite humans live, and those that are scum live outside of it and just have to fend for themselves. And on the outside is little congregations of people that are trying to survive. There are other storylines that are going in amongst this that I'll let you discover for yourself. Personally, I thought the art design and set pieces for this film, the cinematography, are all spectacular, especially knowing that it has a really small budget. I was just like, dude, you guys did fantastic. Your artwork, your creations, your design, the way it looks, loved it. But I understand that the feeling of that the ending didn't really pay off for the film. But I like the journey of the film. I think that's what I enjoyed. The characters, I even like the bad guy because he was kind of so vile and creepy. The guy with the kids. There's a guy with the kids in this film.
Jonas.
Great actor, but also you love to hate him. So as a sci-fi indie project, I love the art. I kind of want to know more about it. What did you think?
So the positives, the plants, I loved that. I loved not only the design and the idea of them, but then a lot of the execution that they do. I think it looks, I mean, you're right. It's beautiful. And it's crazy because it's the world that we see is so just dirty and dark and dead. To have these living, glowing type of, effervescent or not fluorescent, I don't know the right word, but
like luminescent.
That's it. Bioluminescent. Yes. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you. Where they just, they glow a little bit. They react to their surroundings and to people. I thought that was great. There's a bit towards the end where the plants and, well, there's a reaction. And I loved that. I thought that was spectacular. I mean, that was a good imagination for what can we do with these? And, and the story thinks, well, if we need to do this and we need to accomplish X, but what's a better way to do it than having maybe a character take care of something? Yeah. So anyway, I thought the acting was good. I mean, the girl that plays Vesper she carries the movie because we have to watch her just trudge through life with a hopeful outlook in a hopeless surrounding.
Yeah.
She's having to act well beyond her years.
For sure.
Also.
Yep.
And so it does provide a sense of sympathy and compassion towards her because she is struggling to survive in this land that is really trying to kill everybody. I mean, it is inhospitable. And not only so is she trying to keep herself alive, but she's also caring for her father. And so that dynamic, I think, is good. For me, Eddie Marsan, who plays Jonas, the creepy bad guy, for me, he was just a generic bad guy. Like he was creepy and he was unsettling. And so it's not that. It's just his motivation. I wish they would have dove in, something, examined a little bit more, especially as it relates to the Citadel.
Yes.
Because it's hinted that he has a connection with them and that he maybe has been given some power by them or some authority, or maybe he just has authority because he's intimidating. I don't know. So I wanted a little bit more of that. I think for me, I never felt like the Citadel was really anything. When you think of, and I'm not comparing the movies by any means or the stories, but when you think of the Hunger Games and they have the Capitol, where everybody that lives outside of the Capitol looks at this with like awe and you feel that from everybody. And the Capitol is filled with rich, disgusting people who don't care about anybody else. And so I get that is probably the sentiment there, that there is this extreme divide between the have and the have-nots. But I didn't get like the whole threat level thing, the disparity. I mean, I understand the disparity, but the antagonism, maybe, I don't know. They felt nebulous to me, like they were just there. And so I don't know. And for me, I mean, slow burn was right, but I just found it boring through a lot of it. I can appreciate so much of that. And I'm glad though that you liked it. And I know that from what I've seen, I'm definitely in the minority of who likes this or doesn't like this. So that's, and I'm willing to go with that. That's okay.
It reminded me of films like Annihilation. Do you remember that?
I do. See, and I didn't, the first time I saw it, I didn't enjoy it.
Interesting.
So, and that could be because maybe I went in with the wrong perception or the wrong mindset of what it was going to be. So, yeah.
Well, thanks for putting me on it anyway.
Oh yeah, no. And I'm glad that you loved it. That's the thing. That's great. So
cool. I guess it's your turn.
Okay. This one is I think you reviewed it also, but it's on Netflix. It came out this weekend called Entergalactic, and it's like from the Kid Cudi created this, and it uses his a lot of his music, but also just a phenomenal soundtrack. And it's a love story drama that is animated, and I mean, come on. If you like Into the Spider-Verse, if you like some of Richard Linklater's type of rotoscoping, there was one other that I thought that, who, well, it is, that's the type of animation that you get in this. And it is, I mean, the animation is wonderful to look at. I liked the story. I think it's only the beginning of a story. So if you're looking for like a full relationship arc, you're not going to get that. You're getting a guy and a girl who meet, and then the beginning of their relationship and the dynamic that goes into that beginning of the relationship. There were some shortcomings to it, but I was blown away by the art and the way that they chose to do it, because they went dreamlike at points and surreal, but then also had it kind of grounded at times, where our characters would do things that we would normally do.
Yeah.
So what did you think about it? Did you like it, not like it?
Yeah, Entergalactic was different to how I was expecting the story to go. I wasn't expecting the rom-com drama, which was a nice change. I liked the fact that it had two perspectives from our main protagonist, who we think is our main protagonist, then to his new love. I'm trying to remember her name.
Meadow.
I was going to say, she had a very cool name, Meadow. And we see a lot from her perspective and what she's going through in life and what he's going through in life. And we've just established that he didn't want a relationship, and then he sees her and the world kind of stands still, and you're like, something's going to come into play with that. I think the animation is fantastic, but I think it's strongest when we see their dreams or someone's telling a story, because then it really gets creative, and the different types of animation styles that we have there are just like, literally my jaw dropped a few times, like, whoa, that is cool. What am I seeing? I kind of want to watch that again. Let's skip back a few seconds and just watch those few seconds again. The one thing that took me a while to get into was the drop in frames, and it's not actually a drop in frames. They purposely took out some of the frames to make it feel more like a comic, which I now understand. But it took me probably 20 to 30 minutes, and it's still there throughout the film, but I think you just get used to it. Like, your eye just continues to watch, and that's how they're telling the story, because they wanted it to appear more like comics. So that's one kind of negative, I guess, if that's something that your eye is expecting. You're used to some anime and animation to be fluid movement, and then you're like, sometimes you're like, is my streaming service just not working right? You know, is it stuttering? It's not. It's purposely meant to be there. I also think some people won't like this type of music. However, I think the score and the soundtrack work perfectly in tangent with the story, which makes sense because it is his story. And it came together as like an ambitious project that actually worked out in the end. The fruition of it was just a really interesting, fun snapshot of this guy that's a comic book artist, and he meets somebody, and we get to be along that ride with him. And in the meantime, here are some very spectacular visuals. It was quite a ride, yeah.
So the one thing, and I really wish I should have asked this in my review, because it stood out to me as, is this really happen? Do people really do this? But our characters, they smoke weed, which is zero problem for me. I think in the US, it still should be decriminalized. It's stupid that it's not. But that's aside. So our characters smoke weed just as a part of a thing. No big deal.
Yeah.
But there is a point where we watch them brushing their teeth while smoking a joint. And I just want to know if that's a thing, because it seems like
that was normal to him. He just wanted to be chilled. He's going out. He's nervous. And so, but he wants to have clean, but he's also putting smoke in his mouth.
Well, and I like, when I brush my teeth, like, my mouth is filled with spit and foam and stuff.
Is he going to breathe in a minty weed flavor?
Maybe I don't know. It made me chuckle at that, because I'm like, okay, so I'm seeing it in animation. I want to see it done in real life. That's why how did you accomplish that? How did you actually get, without like choking yourself by sucking in, inhaling some of the liquid or something that's in your mouth? Just anyway.
Hence animation.
Yes, exactly. So that was, no. Okay, good, cool.
Nice.
Do you have anything else
Yes, Netflix
Okay.
released a very interesting series this week called The Empress. This is a German period piece set in the 19th century. It's about two young people, a fateful encounter, proverbial love at first sight. The Emperor, Franz Joseph of Austria-Hungary, and the girl is Elizabeth von Wisselbach. I'm trying to get the names right. Princess of Bavaria. And she is the sister to the woman who's meant to marry the prince. So we have love at first sight, but the emperor is meant to marry the sister of the woman that he's fallen in love with, like at first sight.
Oh, okay.
So, but basically, this is Bridgerton meets what's the English one? Downton
Crown?
Abbey.
Oh, Downton Abbey. Okay.
Downton Abbey and The Crown. You mix those all together, and then you add the cinematography and the world cinema of it being, German and reading subtitles. And I thought this was one fantastic. It looked amazing. I don't often talk about costume design, but in this show, costume design and set pieces go hand in hand with the royal nature of what you're experiencing, and then the juxtaposition of seeing how people are living on the streets and starving to the decadence of the lavishness of their lifestyles, I thought was showcased so well. There's a big rebellion building storyline that runs in conjunction with what the royals are going through and the love story, and apparently it's all based on fact. It also finishes on a massive cliffhanger where I was like, oh no, what's about to happen? And then it just goes credits, and I'm like, are you kidding me? What? No.
Rude.
Yeah. I was really entertained. They're each an hour long, 6 episodes, but like they just flew by. Very, very entertaining. Yeah.
That's nice that you don't feel the time, because sometimes, with the dramas, it weighs on you there.
There's enough to keep you engaged. There's lots of people getting up to mischief. The costumes, it's not action, but the drama is action. Does that make sense? Like there's a lot going on. You're wondering who's going to say what that's going to get them banished or beheaded, something like that, or sent to an asylum because you don't agree with the current way things are run. So you're going to step out as a woman and decide that you're going to stand up for your right to party or not. I'm trying to avoid spoilers, and then you're like, no. You can jog on, and all your family are going to be decimated as well. It's that sort of power. You got to be careful what you say, when you say it, who you say it to. It's very, very entertaining. Yeah.
Nice. All right. I had it on my list. I didn't get the time to see it.
Yeah, so a lot.
I'm glad to hear that it's good.
Yeah, it is. It's very good. I do want to talk about Lord of the Rings Episode 6.
Okay. I still haven't seen it. So
you haven't seen
Yeah.
any? Okay.
I've seen episode. we have a little bit of a delay sometimes.
Slight delay.
I've only seen the first 2 episodes.
Okay.
So I've got a good binge session ahead of me.
You're in for a treat.
Yes, go ahead.
I will.
Okay.
100% do no spoilers in this. Suffice to say, for me, this has been the best episode yet. And anybody else who says this series is wrong, is bad, you're wrong. 'Cause dang. Wow.
Well, did you know that this week viewership of Rings of Power surpassed House of the Dragon?
Wow. That doesn't surprise me, because it keeps getting better and better with each episode.
Nice.
That's why. Great character building, real character building, rather than, oh, my characters need to be this thing from this thing because that's how it was established already. No. They had to get there. And now we're seeing why they got there, how they got there, what they look like. The score, oh my gosh, every episode I'm just like, damn, the score's so good. And literally this episode is like, damn, the score's so good. Every moment I feel privileged to be watching it. It's that sort of thing. Like, I'm so glad I got this. I can't wait for you to have seen it and then come back and talk about some of those moments you enjoyed. I'd be surprised if you don't love this. Like, I'm a huge fan of Lord of the Rings, but I'm absolutely loving every episode. But this, for me, without doing spoilers, there are moments in battle, real world moments of who's going to survive, peril for your characters, that you're just thinking, yeah, this is not going to end well, but has such a nice, remember when they did this in Lord of the Rings? this is similar to what's going on now. Like, there are moments it's like, oh, that moment, and without doing spoilers, that moment, this is exactly like that. They get the light and the dark really well. The use of light and dark, as in like the darkness brings this, but a new day will bring this. It's so reminiscent of like the lore of what they say, obviously, because it's Lord of the Rings, but they do it in the right way. But it's also its own adventure. Loving it. It's so good.
Outstanding. Oof. Yeah, I think, because is episode 6 the most recent episode?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so see, that means I've got a wonderful binge session.
Yeah, you do. I'm pretty jealous, to be fair, yeah.
Like, I get to enjoy just a huge chunk of this.
And each episode's like 70 minutes.
Yeah, no, I know. That's why it's like, I got to get my butt ready for a proper sit down and just enjoy it. Oh, it'll be good. Nice.
The last thing I wanted to talk about, which I'm hoping that one day you will go and watch, just for the acting ability of Kenneth Branagh. He did a miniseries with Sky Original called This England. And basically it chronicalizes everything Britain has just gone through with the Prime Minister through COVID, just before COVID and after COVID. And it's Kenneth Branagh as Boris Johnson. And so they do the makeup, and he looks, most of the time, he looks like Boris Johnson. I do question whether this was the right time to put it out, because it's still very fresh and very raw. My son's best friend just got COVID. He's really ill. And all the politics, like, we are still living the aftermath, but we just got a new prime minister. So everything they show in, from the floods we experienced to people dying, to how the country was handled by not shutting down sooner, you know, all of that is showcased in a very raw, real way. They don't shy away from, actually, we made a bunch of mistakes, sort of in the storyline, and how Boris reacted to that and dealing with his own family issues. But putting it out now seems like it's just going to excite people that were upset again to like being already angry again, reminding us. There's there's an episode, episode 2, I think, where the first nurse that had COVID dies from COVID. But they show us what his family went through, how he contracted it, who he was. Such a beautiful family. And he dies. And I remember having quite a guttural reaction to that moment, going, yeah, that sucks so much. Why didn't we shut down sooner? Why didn't they act sooner? Thousands of people died because of your inability to kind of meet the expectations of what local governments should be doing. And so if that's me, I imagine everybody that's watching this is like, yeah, this is why are we watching this? That, huh? Yeah, it's so real. Yeah. And it feels like it's too soon. You know, the 9/11 stuff, sometimes you watch a film on it now and you think that's still too soon, but it's been so long you can watch it in that perspective. But I guarantee no one's going to watch it like a movie about that the first 6 months after, or...
No. Yeah, especially because we're still going through it. I think that's I could see that is a very real feeling of like, just too soon. Like, doesn't take away from how awesome this could be, but I don't think we're ready as a people. I mean,
would you be ready to watch a thing on Donald Trump now? Has enough time passed?
No,
because
we're still dealing with it.
Yeah, we're still dealing with it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's the same sort of feeling. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
But still worth it. Worth checking out.
Just phenomenal. Well acted. Just very, very raw. So I'm not being rude. I'm just looking at all my things that I wanted to talk about. There was so much. Have you heard of a series called American Gigolo?
I have, with John Bernthal.
John Bernthal. Yeah, so that's just started airing. There's 4 episodes out for that. We just watched the first one today, and can I say it's harrowing. Like, really? I also want to protect John Bernthal, because I think that man is a phenomenal actor. Like, yes, seriously, everything I see him in, he just knocks it out of the park. See, he plays a gigolo who gets framed for murder, and he then spends 15 years in jail for a murder that he did not commit. And then the same detective comes to him and says, "Oh, we made a mistake. You're free to go." Yeah. And so then the story is him trying to come up with a life, trying not to be bitter and broken. You don't get any like money back from the government. It's literally just, sorry. Like if I was him, like I would sue up the wazoo, man. Like seriously, that's 15 years of my life. There's got to be some recompense there. Anyway, so we see him as this character trying to figure out who or why he got framed for murder in his job as being an American gigolo. And then you see how broken he was because he was like at 14 or something when he started to become, he was forced into that lifestyle. First episode I've seen so far is flipping good. Like it's great TV. It's on Showcase, which is on Amazon through Paramount Plus.
Oh, really? Paramount?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Huh.
So that is one I just wanted to, like, I've only seen the first episode, but so far I'm just like blown away going, yeah, this is going to win all the awards. I also saw, and I watched my first thing on Freevee, which used to be IMDb TV. It was fine.
Yeah.
The adverts were really short. They were like 6 seconds, which is fine.
Nice.
Yeah, it just kind of came and went. So I was happy with that. I realized I hadn't actually ever seen Hellraiser. So I'd heard my friends talk about it. I've seen the trailer. So I went to watch... The
first one?
The first one, yeah. The very first one. I don't think I've seen any of the others. I just know of it in the zeitgeist of the world. I know there's loads and there apparently a lot of them are poo. But I watched the first one and I came out of it going, that was really cool. But the more I think about it, I'm like, yeah, that's aged somewhat.
Yeah. No, well, and, if you get to go and watch Hellraiser 2, which I think Hellraiser 2 is the better story.
Yeah, I've had comments going, watch Hellraiser 2. Yeah.
It's dated though also. Just yeah, we started to watch it, I don't know, a year and a half ago or something like that. And I was like, oh, this is rough. Like it has some great concepts, but
But the first film it's a weird film, Chris. It's not straight up horror. It takes ages to get into the horror. It takes ages to build the lore. It's shot like it's dream sequences. It's Clive Barker like he's on drugs. He writes and directs it, and the creature features just where he obviously stands out. Like if you think The Thing, you know, it's that sort of filmmaking with those real tangible monsters and gooiness. But the film itself is bonkers. It's just so weird. It has nods to films like Nightmare on Elm Street and Poltergeist and The Thing, all kind of wrapped up into a David Lynch movie. That's kind of what this first film is. So I came away thinking that was really interesting in its art style and makeup and prosthetics. But what the hell, man? Why does this has such a great cult following? I don't get it. Like, I was like, this is a classic 3 film, like 3-star at the time. If I'd watched this, I probably would. But if I'm looking at it now as a film and a story, the more I think about it, the more that score just drops. So I'm interested to see what they do with the remake, because I've heard good things.
I've heard good things about it also. So I haven't seen anything past Hellraiser 2, which for me is just fine.
That's fine. Yeah, it's all good, Chris.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, goodness. Was that everything from this week? Yeah. Do you want to... We had talked about... because it is spooky season, we wanted to focus on a movie or two that maybe might be new to us or has been really like a long time ago that we had seen.
Yes, I definitely want to talk about genre. This. I want to talk about one particularly.
Well,
you can talk about the other one if you want. The good one. You can talk about the other one if you want to. I've tried to block it from my mind.
Let's just say we chose a movie that neither of us had seen. It is on HBO Max, at least in the US.
It's on Amazon in the UK. Yeah,
Amazon in the okay. It's called The Horseman, and it stars Dennis Quaid. And
yes, it's got a different name in the UK.
Does it really?
Yeah, The Horseman of the Apocalypse, I think.
Oh, okay. So it's longer. Okay.
Yeah.
Just don't watch it. It's it's so dull and disjointed that I was bored through all of it. There were hints at it.
It's a 7 wannabe.
It is a 7 wannabe.
Yeah.
And you know, it was funny. Gosh, what was it? Were you the one that said to me that it was a poor man's 7?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's right, because I had told my wife while we were watching it, I was like, this is a poor man's 7. I mean, it was
hilarious.
Yeah, it was so.
Yeah, just don't. Do yourself a favor and don't.
Yeah, it's not worth it. So just avoid it. If you see it on there, because I think the concept, or at least
great.
the write-up,
there's
makes
a story there that makes it really interesting.
Yeah, but it's not this movie.
No. No.
Yeah, no. All right. So we moved on.
Mm-hmm.
We chose a different one.
We did do that.
And Ruben liked this one a lot more than I did, but I still got some enjoyment out of it.
No,
as well.
don't tell me that.
Yeah, no, it was.
No.
There are parts that I really enjoyed.
Right.
So but it is Dog Soldiers,
mm-hmm.
and
it's the greatest movie ever. I'm not sure about that. It's dated. To be fair, it's dated now. Yeah.
It is. The filmmaking is dated. And you know what? It reminds me, because I just recently watched last weekend, I watched 28 Days Later. And that filmmaking is also dated.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Like the techniques and the quality and all of that, it is dated also. So you got that. This Dog Soldiers is is it a spoiler to say what kind of creature feature it is?
No. It's on the poster.
Okay. It's a werewolf movie. You have these Scottish, UK soldiers, at least. It's in the Scottish Highlands and stuff, or the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
They're on maneuvers, and something weird happens. They come across somebody who's been attacked, and then they have to go shelter after they make an escape, and that's where the zaniness and the attacks come from. Just this werewolf. Is that a good enough synopsis there without giving too much away?
Yeah.
Okay. So talk to me.
Simon Pegg was offered a part in the film, but he turned it down after Edgar Wright offered him his first horror role in Shaun of the Dead. So we could have never had Simon Pegg in Shaun of the Dead. He could have been in this instead.
That would have been a travesty all the way around.
Yeah, right.
I can't see him in this movie though.
No, it doesn't work. Yeah.
Wrong tone, I think.
Yeah. For one, this is a massive cult following. And one of the reasons is because there are so many things that happened in this movie to make it happen. So many random, funny Easter eggs of things like, for example, some of the corpses hanging around in the basement were originally created for and used in Event Horizon.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, there's loads of things like that in this movie. I think, for me, why I love this is quintessential British. The dialogue and the scripting are amazing. I just loved the characters. Sean Pertwee, there's a scene where he's on the bed. He's been injured or clawed, right? And they need to glue up okay, so this is what you're going to love about their scene. When you watch it, if you haven't seen it for the first time, he actually is drunk. He's fully sloshed.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Okay.
Also, the punch you see that he gets, the first punch broke his nose for real.
Oh, damn.
But he kept on doing the scene. That's what I'm saying. This film has so much cult lore and following to it. There's so much that has gone on in the making of this film. The prosthetics,
that makes me appreciate it more.
Oh, it's so good. The costumes that from the werewolves, right, which are great. There are real world dances in them because they try to get the wolves to move like dancers to make them. The thing is, they could not see at all.
I can believe that.
So they were moving like they were always drunk around it. Like if you're looking at the eye line of the wolf and the wolf was not actually looking at the person, that's because they don't know where the person is. There's no amount of, hey, look down, look left. Yeah, it still didn't quite work. There's so much that goes in. There's some werewolf films that just don't stand the test of time, that just age badly. And this has aged, like, for sure.
Yeah.
But I think the scripting and the characters of the team, the people, That's why I remember it so fondly. That going back to it, I was laughing and giggling because I was like, "Oh, that's not." And why is the time of day different throughout the shoot? Like, there was so many shots.
Dude, there is a point where it is the middle of the night. And the amount of bright light that is coming in through the windows,
that's Kirsten said. We're just gonna say it's because it's full moon, right?
Yeah, that is a very full moon, because that
full,
was like
full moon.
I mean, there was more light coming in than would be during the daylight. It was just so. I mean,
they had massive budget constraints. They didn't actually get to film in Scotland. The exterior shots that were from the helicopter scene were the only shots that were actually shot for Scotland. The rest were somewhere else for tax breaks. The lot of the shoot was all during the rain and was just messing up shots. So the reason why you see different time of days shots is because they just had to film when they had these actors around. Yeah, it was just continuous nightmare to shoot, but this is what they got in the end. And I was just like, yeah, I love it.
Well, and there is some tension within this. As you know, when the chase begins, I mean, it's like there's a heightened, and because the camera, I think, is shaky and the editing is kind of poor, it actually adds to the overall feeling of this, where you're like, I did like that I picked out two movies that came later that drew inspiration from this. So at the very beginning, which I thought, honestly, the first 10 minutes of the movie are almost unwatchable for me. Like, I was just like, oh gosh,
Dog Soldiers? Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
it's bad.
I
thought the scripting was odd, the filmmaking was bad. I was like, I hope it's better than I remember this, because seriously.
Yeah, my wife was like, can why?
We not?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, no, let's give it a chance. But the opening scene, the Kingsman pulls an idea from that.
Yeah.
There is another chase scene before our soldiers get to this house where they shelter in that Tucker and Dale versus Evil uses.
Yeah, of course.
And I just thought I thought that was really cool. I thought that, you know what? So people, whoever those films saw this and was like, ooh, that's a powerful scene, or that's very unexpected. We're going to use that, you know? And so that was good. The, let's see here. The negative, I think, is the twist at the end that we get.
You see coming 10 years ago.
Yeah. I think
saw that at the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So and that could just be age. You know what I mean? Like, at the time that it came out, maybe that was like, ooh, well, didn't necessarily see that coming. I don't know. But I think if you like one more thing that I wanted to see, and I was just bummed. I liked the look of the werewolves. I thought they were menacing because they're so tall too. Yeah. You know, I thought that was great. I wish, though, we would have gotten a transition scene that.
Yeah, I don't think they had the budget for it. There was one that looked so bad was it the woman? It was the girl. Yeah. Oh my gosh. It was like the color was all blurred, and it was like they didn't know how to show it.
Yeah. Because think back to like An American Werewolf in London.
Yeah.
Like, that is
incredible. Like elongated, pulling. Yeah, we needed something like that with the hands. Even that would have been good. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Just something to show me this, because you would see characters fall behind something and then pop up as a werewolf. And it's like,
ta-da!
Yeah.
You just know that someone's like, okay, get your suit on. And
yeah. So dang it. I just wanted some of that, because I think it would have enhanced, you know, because there are those tense moments. And I like that, you know, so we're in a contained setting, and our soldiers, while they have guns, are running out of bullets, and good grief, the line from Kevin McKidd of like 3-round bursts, save your ammunition, and then the very next shot, he's like,
I laughed at that.
Okay.
Do you know Kevin McKidd cracked a rib, I think, on the first few days of shooting, but he hid it from Marshall because he was worried that it was going to be replaced because Jason Statham was originally due to do his movie, but then got called to do Ghost of Mars instead. So he wanted to make sure. So he did it with a broken rib, but like. So if you see him with a grimace in his face going, that's because he's in pain because he's got a broken rib.
Wow. Well, that's dedication. And I think it adds a grittiness to it to show like he just, he looks like he's not having a good time.
Not having to act too much because he's... Exactly. The film takes place in September 1st and 2nd, where Germany and England are having this football match where this one character is he really wants to have seen the best football match of like many, many years. England beat Germany like 5-1 or something, which is amazing. There was a recorded full moon during that match. So it's accurate in the storytelling. Yeah.
That's cool.
I love that. Fun. It's so good. And the only reason why super glue was included in the movie was because the director found out that's what they used. That's what super glue was created for in the Vietnam War. So they took that and put that in and made that to stitch up. And I thought, see, there's so many little bits that they keep adding on.
That's cool. That's cool. I mean, I think this is good for a one-time watch. You have to understand that it is dated in its production value. You just, so I think if you understand that going in and you know that, okay, so it's trash for the first chunk of minutes. Yeah, it's and bad. Then then it starts to get into it. And then once the chase begins, even though it's kind of vague of why, there is some tenseness there.
I really thought you were going to switch it off and say, sorry, I couldn't, because there is a dog that gets shot right near the beginning. And I was like, I don't remember that at all.
That's true. I'm glad that they do not show it.
Yeah.
And I think they do that to really establish who that character is.
Yeah.
Like how ruthless and how terrible of a person they really are. Like it's just unfeeling, don't care. And so you're against them, which makes sense, especially then because you also have Kevin McKidd's character who you now instantly root for.
Yeah, because of it's a clever establishing who the good and bad guys sort of are thing. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. I thought it was good. I know it's dated and it's old, but I think that I love the dialogue that leads to the horror. I think that's quite funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The banter back and forth is just
the way the soldiers speak to each other. You get the group that they've been together for ages. There are moments like how they react to the circumstance of what they call each other. Yeah. It feels like a family. There. Yeah, absolutely. Only a family could be that disrespectful for each other that actually won't piss them off too much because they're family. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, they've been through crap together, so it's earned almost. So
yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Cool. Okay. Anything else? We good? Mm-hmm. All right. Well, hey, we thank you for watching this kickoff to the spooky season. You can like, share, subscribe. Ruben with the Ruby Tuesday. Me, Chris, with Movies and Munchies. Check out our Patreon opportunity at patreon.com/thebeardedones. The last couple of ones, we had some poster challenges where Ruben and I obscured posters, and Ruben was much harsher to me the second go round, which was fun, and he just decimated me in that challenge. So that was awesome. But you can head over to that URL. It's linked in the description below, and just check out what opportunities exist. You can always tweet at us at Best We Watched. And if you want the extended audio version where it contains not only this bit that you just watched, but it also contains portions of entertainment news, some randomness, as well as the things that we're looking forward to, you can find that anywhere you listen to podcasts. And we also linked just a jumping off point in the description below. But if you do happen to listen to us there, if you could rate and review us, that would be huge. With that, we thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Take care.